welcome to the Maryland PTAC podcast, Assist and Win, where we showcase client success stories and feature procurement experts to help small business owners. I'm your host, Yasmin Razak, and I'm the Marketing and Training Coordinator here at the PTAC. Today's guest is Silvia Perez. She is a CEO of Raffle Enterprises, which is a multi-service provider, including medical supplies. And since the COVID-19 demand for supplies, she was recently awarded a $300,000 contract to provide medical equipment to the VA. Silvia has been a Maryland PTAC client since 2018 and works with her counselor, Richard Paden, on her contracting goals. Thank you for joining us today, Silvia.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Okay, well, first of all, congratulations. $300,000 is a wonderful contract to win, and it's to provide COVID-19 supplies to the VA. So tell us how you came about applying for that and winning it.
Well, as you mentioned in the introduction, my business is a multi-service provider, and the majority of the services that we did provide was training, event management, language services, those kinds of services. Because of COVID, a lot of those services were no longer needed. So we looked at other opportunities and how we could pivot the services and the company to broaden the things that we could offer to the federal agencies. And the COVID-19 opportunity came about because I received a $5 million vendor credit through one of the national manufacturers. And that included the COVID-19 supplies as well as the testing kits. So this is where I started to approach the different agencies, state and federal. And I happened to find a good friend of mine who's also a student for one of our friends who really helps us to look at opportunities in the federal government from a different lens, and how to do teaming agreements and partnerships so that we can really augment what we can offer to the federal agencies. And his name is Eric Coffey. He's wonderful, but he really has been able to introduce us to other students that want to do the things that, grow our businesses. So I was introduced to a veteran-owned small business owner, and we created a teaming agreement where I already had the vendor credit for the supplies, and he had a lot of the relationships with the procurement managers with the VA. So we both came together, and there were several contracts that we went after. But the one for the medical supplies for COVID for the VA clinics was the one that we were able to fulfill.
Oh, that's great. So you've already mastered the art of teaming and networking and doing joint ventures. That's a wonderful achievement to hit the ground running. So tell us a little bit about your career background. How did you get to become a government contractor?
Well, that is actually it's a long story, but I'll make it short. I basically had been an executive for several national nonprofits for about 21, 22 years. And through my years of working with those national nonprofits, I actually was able to help them fundraise about $160 million for all of their programs and services that they provided for the community. So I already had the sales background, the relationship building. I'm not afraid to, go to the CEO of a company and talk to them about, eloquently about their services or even their products, because I know how to do my homework. So when my son was diagnosed, I have a special needs son. And when he started school, he basically was diagnosed with some developmental delays. So I had to make the choice as an executive that I continue my career or that I stay home and make sure that my son had a good start, not only with his education, but that he was able to catch up with the things that he needed to do. So as a mom, I chose to start my own business so that I could be home more and really develop a lot of those relationships that I already had and hone in some of the sales skill sets that I already had mastered. But it was really scary because I had never gone without a paycheck, for the last 20 plus years. And this time I was basically just relying on what I could do. But I can honestly say it's been really rewarding just because there isn't a single day that I'm not, here with my son, making sure he's getting the therapies that he needs, that he's doing well in school. He's actually an honor roll student in school. And as a professional, now as a CEO and business owner, I can honestly say that the skill set that I had really helped me to prepare me to be confident enough to pick up the ball and run with my business. And the first time that we met actually with the PTAC Center coaches, and Richard has been nothing more than wonderful. I cannot thank you enough and the PTAC Center enough for having him there, because he really encouraged me as I was looking to see and really kind of, fumbling myself, through all of the different things I had to do for my business, from the certifications to making sure that I was set up with the state and then with the IRS and all of those things. He really has been that platform, that person, my champion that keeps me going, because although I had the skill set, I just did not have a lot of the knowledge and the know-how that he was able to guide me through.
Oh, that's wonderful testimonial, and also very admirable how you've managed to balance parenthood and establishing your business. Now, Rathel Enterprises doesn't just do medical supplies. I know in the introduction you mentioned a few other areas that you specialize in. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so believe it or not, one of the very first contracts that I received with the federal agency was with the Federal Reserve Board of Governors. I actually provided language training services to them and their facility managers. I had 3 prime contracts with them, and I'm not kidding you, 6 months, not even 6 months after I was certified through the Maryland Department of Transportation as an MBE, SBE, and a DBE. So those certifications, I know a lot of people don't, it is a lot of work, but it's definitely worth the effort that you put into getting them, because those contracts really opened up the door for me to have, some of the past performance and really start building those relationships. Once I was able to start the language services, of course, I had other skill sets like the marketing, PR, sales, event management. I had, helped to manage a team of 25 to sometimes even as big as 40 people, managing national conferences of 15 to 20,000 attendees. So I started to think, well, these organizations also need, besides having the trainings that I provided, I saw the need that they needed to have also those services. So we went and received the certification to provide those services as well. And one of my passions, I know Richard probably didn't mention this, but I also have a nonprofit that it provides housing and housing education. And that is also one of the services that we provide for residential property management. But I received that certification because I basically own several rental properties in the Midwest. And these rental properties are specifically, I didn't target it per se at the beginning, but is mainly targeting single mothers who are escaping domestic violence and sexual abuse. and I provide them these rental properties at very low, I mean, way below market rental prices. The homes are beautiful, they're safe, they have garages, and that is, you know, another skill set that I had that basically has helped me not only to continue to do what I'm doing through my nonprofit, but also provide that service to agencies. And one of the, I know that the VA has several facilities that they need assistance with, and we're hoping that you know, through some of these certifications that will also open up the door for us to work with them on some of the facility management that they have for the VA housing, or even some of the clinics that they do own.
Wow, I think your nickname should be Superwoman, Silvia, because it seems like you are doing everything really well and helping vulnerable people as well. That's a wonderful and admirable quality. So kudos to you for that. Continue. I hope you can continue with juggling all those balls in the air. So, okay, so why would you recommend that small businesses use the PTAC? I know you've talked about how great your counselor has been and how he's helped you. What would you think, if for people listening to this thinking, no, I think I can do this contracting thing on my own, I don't need any help. Why would you say, go and ask the PTAC for help?
Oh my gosh, why wouldn't you? I mean, you have all of these very great professionals, not only that are knowledgeable, but they also have relationships with people that can really open up some doors. One of the things that I know I was struggling just recently was obtaining a loan, because we actually needed $1.8 million for a contract that was awarded that we ended up having to let go because we couldn't get the financing. But Richard, my business coach there at the PTAC Center, was able to basically step me through the different ways that we could do the financing, and you know, get me in contact with banks, private lenders. I mean, there wasn't a single rock that he didn't turn to try to help me to make sure that we could deliver on this contract. And not only that, I mean, he was also able to give me resources that I wouldn't have thought of in terms of understanding how I can reach to other VA procurement officers, because the one that we work with is a regional procurement officer that manages basically the southeast portion of the country. But there is the rest of the entire country that we could be working with. So he really, really helps me to think through the things that I'm not thinking about. And not only that, I mean, you see how busy I am as a mom and as a business owner and all of these things that I do, but he also is very mindful of things that are coming up and letting me know, okay, we have this training coming up, you really should attend, you know, make sure that your SAM profile is completely updated. You know, things like that, that as a small business owner, I'm so busy, you know, just doing every day, just kind of like, I call it the little hamster in the wheel. But he really helps me to hone in and focus on the things that I need to do to make sure not only that my business does grow, but also that it stays in good standing, not only with the state, but also with the IRS, and that, you know, I have a good marketing profile. I mean, all of those things. Why wouldn't you want to have help in one place at one time with someone that can do all of that for you?
Oh, wow, that's great. And I hope people listening will take heed because yes, the PTAC is a wonderful resource and it is free to you as the client as well. Okay, so before we wrap up, I'd like to know what's in store for the future for your company. Where's Raffle Enterprises heading towards?
Well, definitely, I really like the teaming agreements that I'm learning about with other small businesses, just because I know that you can have a much larger impact by building these partnerships and relationships as a small business owner. And therefore, you can get larger contracts that you wouldn't have been able to do on your own. So definitely looking at additional teaming agreements with other small business owners, continuing to, I love working with the VA because I see how they really put the veterans at the forefront. Anything that they do, any opportunities, they really try to work with veterans. I myself am not a veteran, but I do have a lot of other small business owners that I know and network with that are veterans and have those certifications, and also other women small business owners as well. So teaming agreements is definitely something I'm looking forward to. Continuing to stay in the medical supplies arena, just because I've gotten a taste of it and it's not that difficult. You know, a lot of people think, oh, well, you have to have all of this background, you have to know, and that's not really true, because as long as you find a provider that can give you the products, and then you have a delivery system that can get those products to the VA clinics or wherever they need to go, is definitely a great opportunity. So Raphael Enterprises is going to continue to grow, and for anyone that wants to know more about what we do, they can go to www.rathel, RATHELL, enterprisesinc.com. And there you will see the different services that we do provide. The past performance, we have had about 16 different clients, and these are clients ranging from, again, I already mentioned the Federal Board of Governors, but I also had a contract last year with the National Parks Foundation to do events for them, which, you know, COVID, of course, threw a little bit of a bump, I guess, on the road. But we're looking to grow. We're looking to continue to participate with the federal agencies, and really looking forward to continuing to work with the PTAC Center, because I can honestly say I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Richard's support and his encouragement. I think he understood where I was coming from, and he had that compassion to really help me to kind of, you know, pick up the ball and just run with it. And definitely would recommend anyone listening, please reach out, please participate in the trainings, because they're very helpful and they're there to help you. So please give them a call, and especially Richard. I know he's really busy, but he is definitely my champion and someone that I consider my guardian angel. So thank you, Richard.
Oh, thank you. And it's been wonderful speaking to you today, Silvia, and hearing about the wonderful things that you're doing. So I'd like to say thanks again for spending time with us, and we wish you continued success.
No, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it. And thank you again for helping me to grow my business and helping me to be where I'm at.